We are live. How y'all doing? How you guys doing? Happy New Year to everyone that has not had a chance to hear from any of us over the last few days. It's already 2020, which is amazing. I'm actually looking on my phone now, making sure that we are actually live on the pre-doc page. But as you guys are joining us, hope everyone is doing absolutely amazing. Usually January, like the beginning of January, everybody's like super energized and hyped up. But what we want to do is this year, we don't want y'all to ever have that drop off, because what normally happens, Nyasha, is literally like January, everybody's locked in, everyone's working out, everybody's focused on their application. And then February comes and the doubt creeps in, March comes, April, May, June, July, like we don't want that for y'all. So we have a spectacular series that we're currently in. This is the 4th episode. It's the PrePT Inspire series. And tonight I'm extremely excited to be bringing in one of our, a good friend of mine, a leader inside of the PrePT grind community, and an absolute rock star. You guys are going to hear her story tonight and really just the ups and downs. But we have Nyasha Abrams here tonight. Nyasha, how you feeling?
I am really, really great. I'm super excited. 2019 has been a heck of a year, but 2020 is looking like a sweet one. So I'm really stoked.
I mean, 2020 is looking real good. Real good. I mean, shoot, I know you have a lot of things to talk about tonight, but and something that happened today that you might want to drop on everybody as well. But for those of y'all watching, if you guys are live, just comment #TeamLive or say hello just so we can see you in the comments. But tonight I want y'all to hear the good and some of the bad from Nyasha's story. The reason why we do this is this. For those of y'all that have never followed PrePT Grind before, or you're new, the reason why we're doing this is because we have all been fed a lie as PrePTs. The lie is, if I don't look as good as the next person, my chances of getting into PT school are lower. If my GRE score is not what it should be, then I don't have a shot at getting into PT school. If my GPA is not what it should be, I don't have a shot at getting into PT school. And so in 2020, we are going to help you break those false beliefs. That's exactly what they are. And we're doing it not by just saying, hey, Casey and Joseph is just going to come here and just encourage it. No. We're going to show you people that have done it, people that have had the same fears. She's going to tell you in a little bit what hers was. The same fears, the same feelings you get, the same anxieties you guys get. Y'all, it's normal. It's absolutely normal. Don't let your advisor, don't let anyone ever convince you that it's not. Don't let a family member convince you that the fears you're feeling are telling you that all of a sudden you might not be a PT, like it might not be your profession, or it might not be your career path. Don't believe that for 1 second. So if you're here and you're saying, y'all, I want PT, but I need to figure out how to get myself to the other side, then you're in the right place. Is that fair, Nyasha? Is that fair for me to say? Perfect. Well, let's dive in. So Nyasha was a pre-PT, now has been accepted into PT school. But before we get there, Nyasha, tell us a little bit, because I love to hear about why people chose physical therapy. Why did you get into the profession to begin with? Like what drew you into it? Is this something you figured out, a year ago, or is it something you figured out a long time ago that you want to get into?
I stumbled across physical therapy because I was curious about the human body, and I thought I wanted to be a MD because of that reason. And so I kind of was curious, and then I was like, wait, I kind of like animals, but I like science, somewhere in that realm. And through that, I actually volunteered. At the time, I was in, elementary school? No, junior high school, around 8th grade. And the requirement in order to graduate was that we volunteered at a facility that we wanted to find a career path in. So I decided to vet, and I did a volunteer day at a veterinarian facility, and I hated it. I immediately was like, this is not it. It's not going to work out. I can't communicate with the dog. I don't know what the dog is feeling. It was just not a good match. And so I was panicking and trying to figure out where on earth to do my hours. And I had my grandmother knew somebody that owned a physical therapy clinic. And he said, just finish up your hours just for the sake of doing your hours and just do it there. And I went, and my very first day, I fell in love. I saw, treatment being worked on patients, and seeing the patients so thankful and just very warm and appreciative of what the work that the therapist was doing made me realize that's something I want to check into.
How convinced were you at that point, or did it take a few years to really fully fall in love with it?
I felt as though I knew, I just didn't know how, if that makes sense. Because this was 8th grade, so I won't age myself too much, but it was a while ago. And so I don't think I even knew other physical therapists. And I think at the time, the physical therapist that I was working with had a master's. So it's different, right? We all need a doctorate now. And it was just a while ago. So I think for me, just not knowing how to get to that point that I wanted was a big thing.
Was big. Oh, wow. For those of y'all watching, did anyone know that early on? I sure didn't. But I don't think I found out, even what PTs were until my junior year in high school. But has anyone who's watching, whether live or on replay, have any of y'all did any of y'all decide that PT was pretty much what you wanted that early, 8th grade, maybe even 9th grade? Because that's amazing to have known that early that that's what you wanted. But you still had quite a bit to get through before you got to the point where you are right now, right? You had no idea though. You were like, shoot, I love it. It's beautiful. I love it. Little did you know. So let's dive into the next part. The struggles. What now? You've wanted to be a physical therapist for so dang long, girl. So long, right? So what now were the biggest struggles, or what were your biggest fears on your journey now as a pre-PT and now a pre-PT that has recently gotten accepted? What was your biggest fear? What was your biggest struggle? And that's the part I love to talk about, because that's where most of us are. And if we're not able to talk about that in public, then it's no one ever gets to hear that they're not alone and they're not the only ones going through it. So what was your biggest struggle?
So I'm going to start from high school, because that's kind of where the journey started.
Better do it.
So I had a pretty rough high school experience. I grew up in South Queens, and for those that may or may not know, it was a school with a lot of graduates, but not a lot of people were graduating. And it was actually, the school itself was named New York City's top ranking issued schools. So issued schools are they're having problems. They're about to shut it down. Whether that be, gang related, low grades, fights. So for me, that was something that was a struggle, because I didn't even know if I was going to graduate, let alone go to physical therapy school. So that was one huge hurdle that I had to tackle. And no one knew what physical therapy was. No one was aspiring to go to medical school. No one was aspiring to do things. So that was really isolating in itself.
Yeah.
And then going off to college, I didn't know what major to even major in. I did my own research, and I thought I was going to do biology. I was like, it's science. People say pre-med type major. And so I started doing biology, and I absolutely hated it. And I don't know, it was just too much plants. It's just too much plants. Too much plants. I don't care what anyone says. I'm not knocking it. If that's your major, I give it to you. But it was just, I love the human body. I like to explore that pathway. For me, it was just not the right fit. And at the time, I was in a dance company, and one of my dance instructors was actually a graduate from Cal State Northridge who had a bachelor's in kinesiology, or a master's. And she expressed to me, the possibilities of kinesiology, kind of opening that door, because I've honestly never heard of it. And through that, I did some research, and I was like, this is perfect. This is literally to a T what I love, because I've always been in sports. I've always been in dance. I've always been in cheer. So movement and the human body is something that was really fascinating to me. And that's why I wanted to be like kind of be in physical therapy as well. So it started from there and trying to navigate what major to even start with. And I love kinesiology. I wouldn't have done it any other way.
Man, like I don't even know how you did it because to be in an environment where nobody even wanted, like high school, let's start with that. Like to be in an environment where nobody even like knew, like it's almost as if it was just like a predetermined loop that was just kind of there, right? Like where if no one else wanted to go further than that. And I was talking to one of my good friends, DJ, who's from Buffalo, and he was saying the same thing. Like a lot of his peers just did, like there's nobody he grew up with that is like a professional. Forget even college. And so sometimes it's like you get to the other side and you're like, shoot, how did I get here? Like, what did I do differently? And I'm sure you have a lot of those feelings, Nyasha, right?
Definitely.
So,
Definitely. I was looking and it's almost surreal.
now let's go a little further. So now you're a little further in the process. Kinesiology is what you've chosen. Like, what became your struggles then? What have you struggled with the most from the moment where you went down? You said bump biology because it's just a bunch of plants, right? You go down the kinesiology route. Hey, let's say it like it is. We got to say it like it is, fam.
I'm so sorry, bio majors. I'm sorry.
Listen, we love what we love, right? But from that moment up until now, what now has been your biggest obstacle? What have you struggled with the most now throughout this last bit of it to ultimately get you into PT school?
There were a couple of things. So
name them all.
The first thing was the isolation factor. When I started out on college, I went to a JC, a junior college, and it was fairly small, and there weren't a lot of pre-physical therapy students. Most people didn't even know what kinesiology was, let alone like physical therapy as a field. And to this day, I still have to explain it to people. And so that was one big struggle. The next was trying to figure out like what classes to take, like trying to use resources online, which at the time weren't a lot, and trying to make sure I'm making the right moves to set up my future. Should I be taking these bio classes super, super early, or should I wait until I'm almost done with my undergrad to take these classes? And what classes are going to expire? Like those are things that I had to navigate on my own and completely solo, which is really difficult. And then once I kind of navigated that, it's like, okay, great. I have my bearings, but no one else looks like me. This is scary, you know, and not being able to have a different type of connection was something that kind of scared me as well. Because we all come from different walks of life. We all come from different backgrounds, and trying to aspire to change people's lives in a field and not having that reflected back is something that I struggled with.
Wow. Huh. I know you and I have talked about this a lot. Just representation, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Not having that. What did that feel like for you to not have that? To not have the ability to kind of see that in the profession or in the people around you?
I think it was kind of a feeling of like, dang, I'm already trailblazing at it. This is another thing I gotta like. This is another load I gotta carry on. Like that's a lot. That's a lot to think that burden now lays with you. And there's so much innovation and so much I want to bring to the field. I felt overwhelmed and like, well, this is just another thing that I gotta just bring along with me. And just honestly seeing somebody else's viewpoint that would relate differently, right? Because we all have a different understanding and perspective, and being able to relate to a different level and understanding that's okay.
Wow.
Understanding that if I'm working with a certain demographic of patients, that I'm going to relate differently to them, and that's okay. There's other patients I'm going to learn from, right? Because through that knowledge and that education, but there's going to be times that I'm going to relate differently. And I would love for a patient to walk into my room and be able to connect and feel comfortable. And so that was one thing that I definitely struggled with.
Man, this speaks to like, this is just not talking to people who are minorities, but like that speaks to one of the biggest reasons why a lot of us as pre-PTs are stuck. Let's talk about it. Like the biggest thing is like in anything, if we don't see someone else that looks like us, this is why we're even doing these series, right? Just to show y'all people that like sound like you, have the same struggles as you. But think about it. Think about it. Think about it. For me, for example, I didn't see my first Black PT until I was a PT, right? So all of a sudden, that shifts a lot of different things, right? But it's like it's also there when it comes to things that we're struggling with, like with rejection. If I've been rejected before, unless I've seen someone that has also been rejected, unless I've seen someone that has crushed it regardless of what they went through and them having looked like me, like there's so much power in that. If I see someone that had gotten rejected, looked like me, had a similar GPA, background, all these different things, and then they got in, my belief in myself goes up, right? So it's the same thing with not like us not seeing other Black PTs. It's the same thing with like it's also there when it comes to other academic struggles, like having extremely low GPAs. Like students that have never seen someone with a GPA below a 3.0 getting into PT school are thinking, shoot, I don't see anyone like me. Guess what that means? That means PT might not be for me anymore. Maybe what mom and dad have been telling me about picking a different profession, maybe that's true. Maybe what my advisor told me when they pretty much told me that, you know, like my application was not going to go through and schools were going to just like toss me to the side. Well, maybe it's true, but what if I see someone that looks like me? What if I see another student that had a really low GPA? Maybe a 2.4, maybe a 2.8, maybe a 2.7, and they got in. Huh. Oh, like, so what I'm saying, Nyasha, is I love the fact that you touched on that. And the last time we did a live stream, we went into that deep because that's such a big missing part in physical therapy, right? It's such a, like, for those of y'all listening right now, whether live or on replay, like, I want y'all to dominate your pre-PT journey for two reasons. One, because you want to, and you want to get into the profession. I mean, let's be real, right? Number two, because someone else needs you. Like, they might not be a pre-PT yet, or they might be. And all they're waiting for is to hear your story of how you got into PT school, regardless of all the obstacles you faced. In PT, like, we do such a bad job of that in physical therapy. Everything is just about look the part, look this way, look that way. Like, and all of a sudden, the people that are struggling the most, honestly, the people that have the ability to have significant impact never actually enter into the profession. They quit way too early. I mean, I'll tell y'all this, like, if Nyasha had quit, one, her 8th grade dream would have gone to the, you know, the crapper. But the honest truth is, like, me knowing Nyasha as the person she is, PT would have been missing out.
Thank you.
Shoot, the programs that have already accepted her, we'll get to that, they'd be missing out. So do y'all see why it's so important? Why it's so important to push? Why it's so important to start asking different questions and saying, shoot, if I haven't seen someone like me, man, like, maybe I'm looking in the wrong places, right? Maybe I'm looking in the wrong places. So Nyasha, I appreciate you sharing that. The last thing is, you applied. You had applied before, right?
Yes. And so I was that low GPA student. I didn't even have a 3.0. And my first time applying, everyone was like, oh, you'll be fine. You're doing this, you're doing all this other stuff. You'll be fine. It's all good. You'll be fine. I was not fine. It was not okay. I messed up in so many ways, not only was my GPA low. I made a lot of errors in just like the application process period. I sent my GRE scores to the wrong schools, like not the wrong school, but like the wrong code. And I didn't even know it until after the fact. So that was like, may as well flush money down the toilet. And I was just getting burnt out. I was getting super, super burnt out, and I was getting frustrated hearing the same thing. Because what I didn't understand was, all right, so I apply, don't get in. Everyone's like, oh, just retake classes. Retake classes. Just keep taking as many classes you possibly can. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna keep taking classes. Any specific classes? No, just keep taking more classes. That's cute. Okay, credit card, keep swiping. And I was just burned out. I was like, okay. And then I took a minute and I realized, and I walked in on another PrePT that I also didn't get in. And I was hearing the same advice. I was hearing, you just need to go take more classes. And then I sat back and I thought, I was like, but if you're telling him that, and you're telling me the same thing, how are we any different?
Yo, I wish this was tea. I'd be sipping it. Like, I'd just be just
but it is 1,000% true. Like, yes. I really, like, you're making this the same person. Like, how is this gonna better us? How is that gonna better me as an individual, not like just outside of the realm of PT or just period? How is that going to help? And then I was like, there has to be something else. There has to be a different way that I can break that mold that everyone was trying to put us into. And it wasn't ill will. It wasn't, to be malicious that these people were giving this advice. They just didn't know better. They didn't know what else to say. I was talking to a PT today who was advising a pre-PT. She said, I honestly didn't know what else to tell her than take more classes.
For those of y'all listening right now, how many of y'all have heard the same thing? If you've heard the same thing ever, just comment me below. I just want to see how many of y'all have heard the same story that Nyasha just shared. Just retake classes. And y'all, there's nothing wrong with retaking classes. There's nothing wrong with it. But can I share an example that I shared with another student tonight, Nyasha? So I was on the phone I get on the phone with students that are inquiring about the acceptance system. And there's a student I got on the phone with today and yesterday. And this is what I shared with them. Y'all, I have an absolutely amazing wife. She's just the greatest in the world. Her name's Eliana Gugi, right? She got my name now. But so my wife is amazing, right? So the example I gave was this. I was like, okay, so let's say I didn't have a wife yet. Let's say I did not have someone that I was like, yo, like, this is like my ride or die. And like, okay, cool. And let's say I didn't have anyone I was dating, nobody I was talking to, nothing, right? Okay, so now let's say my friends thought to themselves, let's hook Joseph up. Let's set Joseph up with some people that he'd be interested in, and then hopefully it works out. What if they put me in a room of 100 people, 100 women, and they said, all right, Joseph, just be here for 2 hours, talk to all of them, and hopefully by the end of the night, you'll find the one. Or what if they also decided, you know what, instead of that, let's find Joseph's 1 to 2 people that match his personality, that's interested in the same things he's interested in, and let's actually match him up with the right people. Nyasha, which group do I have a higher chance of finding the one with?
The one that actually has the concentrated group.
Okay, exactly. What most pre-PTs don't understand, and y'all have to hear this. So Keandra says me, Kaylin says me, Taylor says me, Larry says me. Okay, cool. So a lot of y'all have heard the same thing. The issue with the way pre-PTs have been taught by PTs you're shadowing, by your advisors, by everyone y'all probably know up until this point, is you've been taught to apply the way I just like that first example of me being in a room of 100 women. It doesn't even make sense. It doesn't. It's like if someone says, "Hey, Joseph, yeah, just talk to them about what they like. Just talk to all of them about what they like." Well, the honest truth is, after that 2 hours, could I possibly get lucky? Yeah, maybe. But what are my chances? What am I like? Well, the odds are very low. So then what happens is we start like getting into this cycle where, just like you said, Nyasha, the first time you applied, you end up like applying and then things don't go your way and you're like, what the heck did I do wrong? Okay, let me go retake some classes. I apply again. What went wrong? And now what happens is now we start feeding ourselves this lie. And the lie is, oh, that must mean that I'm not supposed to be in PT. Because I did everything I was supposed to. I did everything I was taught. And that's the biggest thing. So for you, you started hearing that, you started questioning. What did that lead to?
It led to a heck of a lot of self-doubt and toxic comparison. I was constantly like asking like other PPTs, like, what does your application look like? What is your GPA like? And it was purely quantitative. It didn't really take into account the other factors of an application, just because I constantly kept hearing the narrative of, GPA, GRE. That's it. GPA, GRE. And I was like, there has to be something else, like they'll at least consider. Like, please give me an interview. If you just give me an interview, I will show you you won't regret it. And I bet a lot of PPTs feel like that. If they could just get in a room with somebody, just to have a one-on-one conversation with them and talk to them, so that they can see that I'm more than just this piece of paper that you see. And I think that's one thing I absolutely love about what you guys have done, is you guys have created this funnel in which we communicate to the schools like we were having a one-on-one conversation. Like we're having that interview even before we have that interview, physical interview.
So what you're saying, like it's possible to actually be a match for programs? Like I don't have to be like everyone else?
Definitely not. You do not have to fit into that cookie cutter realm that everyone's just trying to shove you down.
Nyasha said it, not me. She said it herself. How many of y'all are stuck in that, like in that cycle right now? Or how many of you have been struggling with that?
How many of you guys have been comparing yourself to other pre-PTs on a constant basis because you're nervous as heck? It happens.
I still did.
And then you end up like doing yourself a disservice. You end up doing your other gifts and your other talents a disservice because you're trying to fit into this preconceived cookie cutter, and no one else can see your talents. Maybe you're good at art. Maybe you used to be a soccer player. Maybe you used to do a whole bunch of other things. There was a whole life that we had before we started this profession. It's a great profession nonetheless, but what else is there to you?
Yeah. Y'all, Nyasha's speaking straight truth right now. Nyasha, you're obviously one of our alumnus in the accepted system. So what now? Obviously, like you've already said, this is a non-traditional way of applying. Like what led you to start looking and searching for non-traditional guidance, like after you hit that point?
I would definitely say just the fact of there has to be something else. And then on top of it, honestly, I was frustrated with the field a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Hey, say it like it
is. Because pre-PTs think that the cookie cutter ideology is only for pre-PTs, but it's for PTs too. Like, and I don't want to say it's just PTs. Like now that I'm thinking about it, I would say it's the whole medical community, the whole medical field. because I've even spoken to people that say, you know, you're supposed to be a doctor, or you're going to be a doctor or something like that. You should be X, Y, and Z. It's like, why? Who created this rule book that we're all suddenly following like drones? Where did this start? And I was frustrated with the field because I was seeing the change that we're having, like the technological advances, and how we can communicate to one another, how we can impact other people's lives.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is another bag I'm gonna have to carry on myself. Oh no, this is a lot.
Yeah.
And I was feeling super overwhelmed because there's a certain level of stagnation. Right? And I always say, if you don't get with the times, you get left behind. And there was, I think, a stillness, and I don't think it's anyone's fault per se. I just don't think there was like enough guidance, and it's great that there is now, that no one was doing anything. It was like, okay, you get your master's, you get your doctorate, you know, you work here or there, you do a little part-time, might do a little per diem on the side, and then, you know, you chill and retire. And I was like, well, where's the innovation? I think that was for me, that was super, super frustrating. Where's the innovation?
Mercy.
In the field? And actually, I was at Ross earlier today. I might post it. And there was a bed cushion. I took a photo of it. It's a bed cushion, right? For your knees, you know, it helps your hip, right? People have that problem all the time. I used to hear it, you know, and PTs would suggest, you know, just take a pillow and just squish it in between your legs when you're going to sleep.
Yep.
Great solution. Guess who made this? This pillow that we as physical therapists are supposed to be pretty inventive with the human body, connecting to the human body. Guess who made this? This pillow that is suggested constantly from physical therapists.
No idea.
Sharper Image, an electric company.
What? Yeah, okay.
Electronic company is making something that we as physical therapists should be able to promote to our patients.
Wow.
An electric company, electronics. And so I think as a pre-PT, I was so frustrated because I saw the potential that physical therapy field could have, and nobody would do it. PTs are innovative. Pre-PTs are absolutely innovative. I'm actually super excited to see the next generation come through, because there has to be a change. There has to be.
Dang, girl. Shoot. How did you find us then? Like, how did we start this journey to where now you are the person you are today? Because I want us to, in a few seconds, talk about your acceptance day, because through all this, you had the frustrations of, like, as a pre-PT and the rejection, and having had this dream since 8th grade, to seeing that, like, PT, like, not only am I struggling with the fears of potentially, like, getting rejected again, but I'm also seeing that PTs aren't taking advantage of, like, what they could be in the profession, and they're not being innovative, and they're not pushing. Like, like, we've seen the profession evolve through a few generations, but, like, right now, she's right. Like, Nyasha, you're right. Like, it really did stagnate. So you started looking for other people that were being innovative, but more importantly, you were also looking for clarity and direction. How did we come to chat?
I think the first thing was finding Greg Todd on social media. It was a moment where he saved me from exiting PT. He 1,000% saved me from exiting PT, because, as mentioned before, I was frustrated with every single thing that I mentioned, and he was the only one that I saw that was going against the grain of what the traditional narrative was, primarily with the entrepreneurial physical therapy. And I've always been an entrepreneur, and I've always been somebody that doesn't accept the traditional narrative, but it has been beaten into me time and time again. And I was getting tired. And so thankfully I did find Greg. And I think through Greg and exploring physical therapists online is how I found you guys.
Mercy. Man, girl, I'm proud of you. I'm glad you didn't leave the profession. I really am glad you didn't. And once we started working together, how did the acceptance system help you solve a lot of the problems that you were facing? The fear of rejection, the bits of, you know, your application process as a whole that you were really not finding solutions for. How did that program help you with that?
For me, the first thing was definitely the guidance with just the pure application of PTCAS. PTCAS is its own little beast, and that in and of itself is a lot, but mostly just helping with the mental game of it. Like, applying is a whole mental game, and being able to have people that got it, like understood, but not only that were like, yeah, this sometimes does suck, and being okay with that instead of being like, you know, you're telling me it sucks, why are you still doing this? You know, and it's not that those people like wanted to discourage me. It's out of like, you don't want to hear somebody that you care about going through something that is unpleasant.
Yeah.
Right. And for me, I had, you know, you, Casey, and my coach like in the corner, like cheering me on, like, okay, yes, you hit a roadblock, but what is the solution? As a, oh, well, you hit a roadblock, better turn back.
Mercy. Now, after all that, tell us about the day you finally got accepted into PT school the first time. Keyword, first time. And then, girl, listen, I need them to hear this. Because we're not in here just to hype people up. I want them to hear real stories. I want them to hear real people that have struggled with the same stuff they're struggling with. Okay, cool. So like, I want you to tell them like about the day you got accepted into PT school. Tell us about that day, and then tell us what happened today.
So I woke up and I did what most people do our age, and I checked, you know, social media, emails, and everything like that. And wait, can we go back to the interview? Like just the interview. Like now that I'm thinking about it, 2 years ago I was begging for an interview. I got an interview. Do you mind, Joseph? Can we go back to the interview? Because
girl, it's your time. It's your time. You go.
I was floored. Like even just to get an interview, like I my jaw just dropped. I was so excited, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I might actually have like opportunity to like speak my truth and like actually be in a room with somebody that decides my fate. Okay, great. I was just so excited. I was so excited. So I went to New York and I did the interview, came back 2 days later. So I woke up, checked social media, checked my emails, and got the acceptance letter. And I remember just sitting on my bed and I was like shaking. I was like, this is not real. This is not real. No, stop. And I refreshed the page. This is how paranoid I was.
Just to make sure.
I refreshed my email. I was like, nah, we got to make sure. And I remember I just started crying. Like, and it was just like a release, a complete, like, total body release. And I remember thinking back to the times I was in class and I was like, man, do I want to do this anymore? The times of like studying and having to say no to going out or doing something else. And I was like, it just really came in. And I was like, this is 1,000% worth it. Like when you're in the midst of it, it's like, am I even going to make it? Is this time and this energy? You put a lot of energy into it. Is this even worth it? And all that came rushing back to me. Those, late hours in the library, those study sessions, those like endless Google questions, right? That all hit me at once. And I was like, it actually happened. It actually happened.
Tell us about today.
I was I was driving and I saw a phone number pop up, and I usually don't answer random phone calls because it's telemarketing. I know everyone gets it.
No.
And and I was like, let's give it a whirl. And I answered, and it was the advisor. And she was like, I have a pleasure of telling you something. And I'm driving. I'm like, wait, I don't know what to do. Wait. And she told me that I was accepted to Samuel Marriott.
Can we just give her a round of applause, y'all? Can we just like celebrate with her real quick? Finish the story though, because it gets better.
And I was literally driving, and she was like, everyone was hands down so impressed with your application. We were talking about it for weeks, and we were just so excited to thank you, Ariana. Thank you, everyone. We're so excited to let you know that we will be having you on board in 2020. And not only that, we loved all your essays, and you will be getting a scholarship to, oh God, I'm gonna cry again. To physical therapy school. And I was like, wait, there's more icing on top of the cake? What? Wait, what? And I was literally driving, and I was like, oh my God, you're gonna make me crash, because I immediately started crying.
You could see the road.
I could see the road. I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. So it was really, really great. And I was just so thankful, because I just wasn't expecting it. And remembering the tireless nights of putting that packet together and kind of shipping it away, to hear it benefit was really, really great. So it was super, super rewarding.
I don't know what else to say. One, you already know how I feel about it. Like you deserve it so much. You do.
Yeah.
And I know it's overwhelming to you, but look at all the other people that are hyped for you. We all know it. We all know it. And I'm insanely proud of you. I'm so glad you didn't quit on your 8th grade dream. I'm glad that now you got options going into I mean, look at that, girl. You not only did you get interviews, you got options now. I mean, shoot, I don't know what better way to go into 2020. But the honest truth is, you deserved it. But what I want you to understand is, it's simply a byproduct of you not pulling the plug and you asking, okay, what I'm seeing doesn't seem to make sense. There has to be a different way of going about this whole thing. There has to be a different way. And for those of y'all watching this right now, I don't know where you are on your journey as a pre-PT. I don't know if you're applying right now. I don't know if you're applying in 2 years. I don't. What I do know is that Nyasha is a perfect example of what it looks like to not pull the plug on your dream. So I mean, let me ask you this, Nyasha. Like, it was worth it. Like how worth it was it?
I would pay for the acceptance system like 4 more times.
I mean, like, forget even the acceptance system. Like, your journey as a pre-PT, was it worth it to get this far?
1,000% worth it. The time, the energy, the tears, the chemistry, right? We've all been there. But like, looking back, I'm like I said, I'm super, super happy I didn't pull the plug. But the reality is, it was close. And to know that there are other pre-PTs like me, and knowing how much I wanted it and how much I want to change the field, kind of makes me sad to think that there were other like pre-PTs that pulled the plug. Because I know what I want to bring to the table. I know what I currently bring to the table. And to think that some people were turned away makes me upset. It makes me really upset.
if that's you, because I'm going to ask Nyasha one last thing. I'm going to have her give her final piece of wisdom now that she's on the other side of the PrePT river. Uh, for those of y'all that are watching this right now, we're in 2020. Like, y'all, time isn't slowing down. It's just speeding up. And 2020 is a beautiful year. Shoot, Nyasha and I are both hyped for 2020. But I don't know if you are. You might be looking into 2020 saying, like, I'm feeling a lot of those same fears going into this next cycle. You might be going to 2020 saying, I actually just applied this past cycle. I'm still waiting. I'm scared that it's going to happen again, or it's going to happen the first time. I'm scared that I'm getting rejected for sure. I've been trying to retake my GRE, and I just feel like it's just happening over and over and over again. If that is you, y'all, it can stop. You can make it stop. And it's not what's up, Tran? Like, it's not a byproduct. Like, it's not about you just saying, hey, I'll just apply until it happens. Because clearly, as Nyasha just told y'all, that's not how it works. Many of you have been taught to apply by let's just do everything general. Let's just do what everyone else is doing. And you know what's crazy about it? It's like, we've been trained to think the more I look like everyone else applying, the better of a chance I have. How nonsensical does that really sound? It makes no sense. Oh, my friend has a 3.5, they're applying. I should have at least 3.5 in order to be a viable applicant because I'll look more like them. It's just two of y'all now. Like, so the honest truth is, like, you can't play this by just trying to be like everyone else. But we want to give you the ability to control that. Because one thing I know is that when you feel like you're in control, when you feel like you have the ability to make those decisions and know exactly what to do, that's when beautiful things happen. That's when beautiful things happen. That's when you turn into Nyasha 10.0 or whatever she's calling herself now, because she's pretty badass. But how we did it is we made it super simple. If you guys want it, go to www. It's a free training. www.acceptancenavigator.com. It's it's the steps that we used to help Nyasha become who she is today, y'all. Stop playing with your career. Stop playing with your career. And really, what I hope this did for y'all is it showed y'all I have no excuse to not get into the dream I want. Not my background, not what I don't see in the profession, not my GPA, not previous rejections, none of that. None of it. So if you want control of that, if you want to say, I'm tired, Joseph, I'm tired, Nyasha, I'm ready to join y'all on the other side of the river, then finish this live training and then go to www.acceptancenavigator.com and take control of your career, y'all. I want more stories like Nyasha's this year, just like Nyasha's. I want this to be the norm. The question is, do you want it to become your norm? And Nyasha, as we wrap it up tonight, what are your words of wisdom? What is something that you can leave pre-PTs that are currently stuck, pre-PTs that are currently at that point, your dance partner, like pre-PTs that are also in the same place? Like what would you tell them tonight, now that you're on the other side? Now, after even what happened today, still, I don't even think you fully believe that today happened yet, right? Like after it all transpired the way it did, what can you tell the people that are listening to this live, replay, whatever? Like, what can you tell them to empower them before we end this recording tonight?
I would definitely say, I hate to say it, but misery loves company. So I know. We're the water. I saved some water here.
Water. Next live stream, I'm bringing tea. Like, I'm gonna have like a little teacup, and I'm just gonna be there sipping the whole time. Just, I'll take my water. Going right ahead. Misery loves what?
Company. You really gulping on it.
I want y'all to hear the gulp. Lord have mercy.
So I was watching Greg's live stream yesterday.
Yeah.
And he mentioned that when people try and show a vision or show a solution to a problem, a lot of the time they're scared. Yeah. And because they're scared, they want hi Gail. They want everyone else scared, because the number game in comfort is a heck of a thing. So when I'm talking to physical therapists that might not see my vision for innovation, might not see my vision for how I can impact millions of people, they're discouraging me because they're scared.
Yeah.
They're scared of the unknown, and they're so used to a certain box that was shaped for physical therapists how many years ago, and they are not able to see that yet. And so my encouragement to physical therapy students, pre-physical therapy students, would be around or find people that, instead of saying, no, you shouldn't do that, what are you doing? You're only pre-PT. You shouldn't be able to do that. No. Go do more clinicals. Go take more prereqs. Like, no. Find people that are actually like, that's interesting. Tell me more. Tell me more. And if somebody is trying to put you in that box, recognize that they can only help you per their own knowledge. And keep going and try and find as many resources as possible.
I couldn't have said it better.
And lastly, get more in touch with your why. That was one thing that I would definitely say pushed me, I think, beyond my own physical exhaustion and my own mental exhaustion, was aligning myself more with my why, because my why is so much beyond me, myself, that if I quit, I'd be letting down so many other people. I'd be letting down like my future patients that I'm trying to help. All, like, whoever you're trying to help, whatever community, do it for them. I know when I was going through those last couple of stretches where I was hitting that mental fatigue, and you said it best during my application cycle, it's not even about you. And through that, I was able to dig.
I remember that call. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
That call right there was where I was like, okay, Nyasha, come on, pull it together. Because when you have something that you're fighting for that is outside of yourself, you are able to dig so much deeper. Trust me, there's a community that the neurological community that I'm fighting for is so much more than me becoming a physical therapist.
Yeah.
So much more. I see how I can impact their lives. I do it every single day at a minute level. But if I'm able to now expand that, I couldn't even imagine the possibilities.
Yeah, literally, I just want to hit end because I don't know what else to say. Nyasha said it all. Can we just give her a round of applause, y'all? Can we just say like thank you or something for Nyasha just taking time out of her evening to inspire the heck out of y'all with her story? I hope y'all learned something tonight. I really do. And if you're stuck and you want to hear more, just feel free to reach out to her. I mean, Nyasha's a cool people just kind of message you and say, hey girl, like I got some questions. Cool. Like reach out to her, y'all. She's absolutely inspirational. But I hope y'all learned something tonight. I hope y'all learned that it's not like stopping the dream is really not an option anymore. and it's close. It's close. And then that's it. I hope y'all were inspired. Y'all have an amazing one. Much love. Appreciate every single one of y'all. Go to the acceptancenavigator.com if y'all want in on exactly what helped Nyasha crush it. Y'all have a blessed one. Much love. Deuces.